Good afternoon. So if it's your first time here, I mean, not Yoli, and I know you know it, but if your first time coming to a live class, this is going to be Frida Kahlo's class, and I'm going to teach the full piece. It's going to be a bust, and if you want to see the previous classes, you just need to go to the playlists on the channel, and they are all going to be there. There's two previous classes. The first one I showed how to make eyes, realistic eyes, not for her, like it's general for realistic eyes. And the second one is an introduction showing how to prepare the skull, how to follow the class, where to find the groups, where you can share your pictures, how to prepare her skin color with flocking to be realistic, as you guys can see here. And I think that's all. You guys can chat with me if you're watching this class from Patreon. Patreon is where I have private classes. If you're watching from it, you won't be able to chat with me. You have to click on the YouTube logo that it's probably here, somewhere around here. Hi, Thiago. Click on this, the YouTube link on the video, and then you're gonna watch straight on YouTube, and there is where you can actually chat with me and I can read your comments, because while I'm live, I can only read comments that are on YouTube, okay? Or same thing if you're on Facebook or whatever else I share the link. Something else I want to tell you guys is that sometimes YouTube does not show me all the comments. Like, I mean, if there's a lot of people talking at the same time, then I don't receive all the comments. So if I don't see it, if I'm sculpting and I missed the question, I apologize. It's quite hard to see everyone's questions, but I do have a Facebook group that is, the link is on the introduction class that you can find on the playlist. And you can always talk to me there. You can ask questions on the videos, and I try to keep up with the group and read all the questions there, okay? Hello, Mexico. Hello, Anya. Enis, hi. Thank you, Algeria. So I want to start this class asking if anyone has any question about the two previous classes, about eyes, about skin color, or whatever I already taught. But please, let's focus. I know there's a lot of people that follow my channel that are not interested in sculpting. So please give the opportunity for the people that are here trying to learn to ask questions related to the class, okay? Hi, Anna. Harley Quinn is a class that I have on the Portuguese channel. So I didn't see any question, so I'm gonna go ahead. But again, if you do have questions, you can go to my Facebook group. I forgot to put the link in this video. I will add later. So after the live, I'll add the link here too, so you guys can have it. Yes, I do have, oh, no, not UV resin, sorry. I've never tested because I really like the epoxy resin, and I bought a container was very big, so I made a bunch, and then I end up just using it. And yes, but I am not gonna need to make eyes pretty soon because we are going to put on the store ready to go eyes, and they are perfect, similar, like perfectly symmetrical, so I won't have to worry about that anymore, and I'm just can't wait for these eyes to arrive. All right, so let's go ahead with our class. So I sent the sculpture as I said that I would do. So I reduce quite a bit of the, so some people, yes, I heard some people complaining that the UV resin sometimes, like if you move the eyes, it kind of mark it down, but I don't know, some people like it. I think it's worth a try. No, resin does not damage when you bake. There are some brands that kind of turn yellow and it changed the color of the eye. But I never had this problem with the Easy Cast one. It doesn't really change the color, maybe a little bit, but like not something that will bother you. So yes, it's completely safe to go in the oven. I mean, safe for the piece, but it's not safe for you because resin, even my skulls, they release gases when they are heated. I don't know if, like, we couldn't find the information with the factories if 130 degrees would be enough to release gas, but I am careful, so every time that I put in the oven, I don't use the same oven that I used to cook, and I close all the doors, and I put like a vacuum, a central vacuum, just to be sure, because I have kids, but I don't know. Or you can put a mask, or be sure, but go away from the oven for a little bit. But just like for health issues, like just to guarantee. There's nothing saying, like, confirming that it is dangerous, but I just like to tell people to be careful. Hello. So this is my clay, and I also want to tell you guys, if you watched Sitting Bull's class, I was working with a much, much harder clay than that. This is exactly the same brand, but sometimes when you mix it up, it turns, at least PV clay, the texture turns a little bit different. And for this clay, I mixed up I was going to do just with the medium skin color, but I thought I wanted more translucent, so I mixed up with a little bit of translucent and a little bit of brown just to make it, I mean, the brown was insignificant because it's really like just to break the beige a little bit. And it turned really soft, really soft. I could have made it harder by removing the oil. So keep on the paper towel, open the clay and put on the paper towel and remove the oil, like leave it for a day and then test it. And if it's still oily, leave it for a day again. I've learned that with my students, Marcia and Pamela. And I've done it and it worked. But I just thought, you know what? I sculpted Sitting Bull with a very hard clay, and I had students that could not reach that hardness. And so I'm just going to do Frida with this one, and then they will see that, it's just different, but it's still doable. I prefer hard clay than soft, so I might struggle a little bit more, but it's good for you guys to see. Okay, so any other question? Oh, so let me tell you. So I sanded a little bit on the sides here, just because I thought it was going out of her face. And I put a clay, as you guys could see, I removed while I was talking. I wasn't paying attention. Sometimes I zoom out and I start doing things and forget to tell. So I just used, like, to sand to keep the jaw in place. I used just modeling clay. This is modeling clay for kids. This one is a professional one, but it's really just modeling clay. But you can also use polymer clay just to attach the jaw. So you can check if the skull is fitting to your transparency. So just like that, just enough to hold it, And then you can get your transparency, put it on front. Oops, that's the small one. So I use the big one because I can touch completely in there. And as you guys can see, nothing is going passing her face. I put the eyes, I try to center the eyes. So it fits perfectly. And on the profile, I sent down a little bit of the nose right here. It was a little bit big, and also I put the chin a little bit to the back more. This one. And nothing is going, nothing is bigger than her face. So that's good. Oh, I also sanded a little bit here. Just, I don't know. I thought it was a bit pointy, so I sanded it. You can't really see her head in here, but because her head style is like, it shows it's like all put it up like this with a division right here, so I just wanted to make sure that it was not going to be too big. All right, so that's what I did, and my eyes are ready. Yes, I use polymer clay. The brand that I use is PV Clay, is a Brazilian brand. So we can get this out of here. We don't really need the jaw right now. Something else I want to tell you guys is that as I am doing this live, I'm also recording some video here to make a nice making a video at the end. So sometimes I need to excuse for a little bit just to press play and record and then press stop just to record some parts. All right, so I removed the jaw, and now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my clay. This time I'm not gonna add, for sitting bull I added some gel, like liquid clay, to make the clay softer and more sticky to put the eyes on, but my clay is already very soft and very sticky, so I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna use clay. But if your clay is hard, go ahead and add some gel. Make your clay a little bit softer. Actually, I don't even know. I think I might have to take out the oil, a little bit of my clay later on. It might be too soft to work with. But let's start this way, and then we'll see, and then we'll talk about it, and then there's one more thing that you guys learn. How to fix the texture of your clay. Hello, hello Peru. So I try to put the same depth in these two sides, and now I'm gonna place the eyes. So I'm working with full spheres eyes, and they might be, I'm gonna have to pull them in a little bit more, but it's same thing if you're working with half spheres, just put it in there and it's fine. So if you guys watch the intro, I chose the eye that I drilled the hole after it was already baked. So it's not flat in here, it's all nice and rounded. I think it turns out a little bit easier to do that, to place the eyes, like to move if you want her to look to the sides, and if it's a little bit flat, it can be a little bit harder to make it look nice. I'm going to remove the excess. Oh, I forgot to, sorry guys, I completely forgot to record that part, and that part I always like to put on my video. Let me do it again. And then you guys can ask me questions while I'm doing again, because I really don't want to mess that up. I'll try to remember. It's hard to give class and remember to record everything. Yep. And I usually, pretty much all my sculptures, I record as I sculpt. But doing class is a little bit trickier because it's too much to concentrate at the same time. All right, so I'm gonna do it again, but now I'm recording, so I want to do like a nice scene, as you guys always see me doing, and you can see in the video later. I'm gonna press this one here. I have another camera, so I'm facing the sculpt to the other camera right now. All right, it's good enough to record. And then you guys can learn how to record you too. You're gonna watch me recording, and then that's something else you can do. Actually, it's really good if you can record what you're doing and post. People really like to see the making of. It's a very good way to attract public to your social medias. It's a very good way to show your work. I don't know, I love the process, maybe even more than I love the sculpture ready. How to sculpt the human body. I have a lot of classes on Patreon that are private. I'm just removing the excess here. And I do the full sculpture, so I do have full body ones there. And I mean, the focus is not really the anatomy because we do the full sculpture, so it's just that specific person anatomy that I talk about, not like in general anatomy. All right, so now I'm gonna try, the next step that you do is you place the eyes, but this is not Frida Kahlo's eyes, right? We just placed some eyes here. So, but it's a portrait, and people have different distance on their eyes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my print, and I'm going to measure the center of her eyes there. You guys can see that closer. So I want to go, she's looking straight to the front, so that's really Good. It's easier to sculpt like that. So it's good for beginners. And I'm gonna put like, try to put on the pupil. I don't like this word. I have such a hard time saying that word. But, you know, just the center of the eyes this way. And I'm gonna measure how far apart they are. And I'm gonna get my caliper measure and put in here. If you don't have a caliper to measure, I think I forgot to put on the list, did I? I did. But anyway, if you don't have a caliper, you can just use a compass, the ones that you make circles. I don't really know the name. Like just open up or use a ruler, you know, whatever you can use to measure the distance on the of our eyes. So that's correct here. I accidentally put it on the right spot. I mean, accidentally, but not really accidentally. The skull is proportional, so that helps. It's average proportion, so it kind of helps. And as you practice and do a lot of portraits, your eyes kind of get used to it. You train your eyes and you kind of start doing things in the right measurements without measuring. But it's always good to confirm. All right, so I've done that. That's good. Now, I just want to make sure that there are different ways to do that. We could measure the eye from lips here. Or, hello, what help do you need? I'm going to keep on talking, but I'll try to read your question. So another way to do it is put the transparency and see if it's fitting. See? Just go ahead and make sure it's fitting. Look at that. It's right there. So it's good. And the lips are in the right spot. So you want to put the lips a little bit here. Like it's not right on the division, the end of the teeth. It's more around here. Just if you close your mouth and put your tongue to your lip, you can feel that is not down here. It's a little bit here. The transparency is available on the printing material. The link is also on the intro class that you can find on the playlists here. And I prepare, all you have to do is buy a transparency sheet that is special for printing and print it. This is all already ready to go there. This material is available for you guys, okay? Yes, yo soy familiar con la historia de Frida, gracias. Conozco la historia. Conozco todo lo que ha hecho y la admiro muchísimo. All right, so I measured here and it's also matching this height with my transparency. So with Sitting Bull, I didn't really use a transparency. I use measurements more. So this time I'm gonna use more the transparency. So you guys have two different ways to find, like to do things. And I'll focus more on the transparency with Frida, okay? So if I put like, I'm fitting the nose is in the right spot, see? The lips are okay. The teeth are a little bit too high, but that's because like maybe I printed like smaller, but that's okay. It's gonna fit because I sanded the chin and the teeth are not gonna show, so that's gonna be all right. And everything is fitting, so that's okay. That's a great place to put the eyes. Family member. Yes, you can print. Well, yes, family members or clients, you always need to ask for pictures. Frontal pictures, half profile pictures, full profile pictures. And I mean, the more angles you have, the easiest to make a sculpture it will be. Okay? All right, so now that we placed in the right height, like this, and with the right distance, it's also important for us to know if we put in the right depth, okay? So there's three things that you have to pay attention when you place the eyes to match Frida's eyes. So that is the distance between them, how far they are from the teeth here, if it's fitting the nose and the height. And now we're gonna measure the depth. Some people have the eyes more far, like outside, and some people have the eyes more inside. So when you're making a portrait, it's really important that you put the right depth. So I'm gonna use the bigger one. As I said, I made 3 different sizes, and I think, don't let me just hold the jaw here so we can see it better where it's fitting the chin and everything, just to give me a better idea. I will remove it. It's just for measuring now. So hello. So I'm gonna put it in here. You can also cut one, like separate them to be easier to hold. I'm gonna put it in here and see if it's in the right depth. So it's not. I mean, if I'm gonna use the chin all the way there and the forehead, the closest as I can to the edge, my eyes are too out. You see, it must go much more inside. Do you see? Look. If I fit forehead and chin, look at my eyes. They're right here. You need to go a little bit, quite a bit more. You have to be careful how you hold the sculpt because that makes a difference. So you have to try to be, hers is not full profile, so you kind of have to put a little bit more this way and then go back. I can go a little bit more inside. Other way to measure is you get the profile. You get the profile, the original picture. Hold on. Which one did I use? This one. Another way to measure, if you have a hard time with the transparency, sometimes I have a hard time with the transparency too. So I think it was this one. Yeah, this one. And you just measure from the end of the nose to the outside of the eye here, the top of the eye here, right there. And then you come here and you see if it's fitting. So even here is not fitting. I have to go more inside. So I'm gonna press my eyes in more and more. And I'm gonna have to measure again to place them, look into the right direction and all of that. So let me see now, that's about right, because I'm gonna add a little bit of clay to the nose, so I have to discount that. That's about right. And I can confirm that with in here. And you can always change that later if you think it didn't turn out perfect. We can always change that later. Oh, that's better, see? I like that. I like that better. All right. Now, again, I'm gonna measure, see if I move my irises far away from each other when I press it in. So I'm gonna measure up again. Portrait is a lot of measurement until you get used to just look at the picture and know if it's right or not. See, now it's a bit, yeah, it's not bad. I just need to make her look straight because it's kind of cross-eyed. So I'm just gonna fix the way that she's looking down. All right, guys, this is pretty much it. I like it now. We can always keep on changing later on. It's fine because I'm not gonna bake this clay here, and I can still move the eyes. It's better if we can get it right now because it's a bit challenging to move them later, but it's possible. So don't freak out too much. If you can't get it perfect or if you're not so sure, try the best you can. All right, any question? I'm just recording, like making some funny faces here. Questions? I didn't receive anything. That was just me recording. No questions about this. If you guys, another way, like options here, you can sculpt along with me while I'm in class. I have students that do that. They follow me as I go. And I have students that prefer watch everything and then watch the video that will be available and then sculpt with the video after they already watched me. So they can pause and take their time. What the number of the pieces you are using for remove clay? This? Are you talking about that? That's just a dentist tool. Hola. Okay, so now that the skulls, you can get them at my store. You can find the link on the previous class here, Frida Kahlo intro, that you can find on the playlists. You go playlist and you find Frida Kahlo, and there's the how to make realistic eyes available for you to make the eye, and there's an intro that have a link to my Etsy shop, and you can find the sculptures on Etsy or Amazon. I sell them in both websites. Oh, I don't know the number. I really don't know. I will have to find out. I have no idea, to be honest. My mother gave me this. All right, now let's put the... Yes, some people like to watch later. Yes, no worries. Like those videos are going to be available here for any time you need. Okay, so now I'm going to place the jaw. And she's with her mouth closed, so I don't have to worry about how much I will open her mouth. All I need to do is put clay down here and press it. All I have to worry now is to don't let air bubbles, air between the clay and the skull. So have to try to fill in all the space in there and don't let any air anywhere in there. Oh, I drill. Somebody asked me that on the class and I forgot to talk about it. They asked like, how are we going to fit the thing on the head? And I explained that we're going to drill a hole here to place our structure, but I drill a small hole already, and that is because sometimes some people have difficulties in hold the sculpture without messing up while they are sculpting the face, and it's very hard for them to hold like I do. If you do find difficult, you can always make a hole and put a stick. Not this one, this is too small. I need like a barbecue one. Let me get a stick and drill a hole, and then that might make it easier for you to sculpt because you can hold it in here, press your thumb in there, and that's it. That might help you. I'm gonna remove mine because if I have a stick here, it's hard for me to move around in class unless I cut very short. Okay, if I have the need because my clay is softer, then I'll use it. But anyway, I have the hole in here, so it's easy to do it. And you can also, put it and remove it. You don't need to glue it to the face, so you can always remove when you have the need and put it back anytime. When you do this, like the clay tends to come out in here, it's fine. Actually, you might even want to fill up all the way in there to make sure that you won't have air bubbles, because what happened to polymer clay is once you put in the oven, the air bubble will try to expand and it can crack your clay because it's the air bubble trying to escape because it got too big to stay in there. All right, so that's why you want to avoid it. All right, once you place the jaw, try to make sure it's nice and straight and in the center. I have some students that have a hard time keeping the jaw mobile while we sculpt, and because she has her lips closed, it's okay for you to bake this or for you to use epoxy clay to make sure that the jaw won't go anywhere. Okay, so that's also another option. There are different ways to go with this. Why are you laughing? I missed the joke. Oh, let me tell you guys something else. This is my transparency. I don't know if you remember in the intro I said that I printed on the wrong side, so it was coming out, but I taped it. So I just put tape on top, and that is not a bad idea to do it even if you print in the right side, so it won't get the ink on your clay. So protect it from the ink. Just put a tape on top. Then you won't make your clay dirty. Okay? All right. Well, first of all, have beside you either baby wipes or alcohol, something that you can keep on cleaning your hands. Always work with your hands clean and avoid dark clothes, because even your clothes can get, you know, the dust from it can get to your clay. So try to, I have a horrible clothes today. I'm saying that, but I have that, and that's horrible to do what I'm doing, especially because my clay is sticky, so I might get my clay dirty. But if it gets dirty, you can always clean up after. You can clean up with some mineral oil. You know, try to also keep your sculpture clean. If you notice that it got dirty, clean it up before you keep on going. No, not avoid any clothes, avoid any dark clothes. Did I say avoid any clothes? All right, guys, so now let's add the skin, okay? So here also there are different ways to go. We can put some clay inside the nose, so to avoid air bubbles in there. So just so you know that all the space is filled up and you won't have air bubbles in there, because it's hard to go with the layer of skin there. It's hard to get in the right side, the right, you know, to get inside without damaging the top. It's too deep. So you can do this so it's less deep for the skin clay to go. Oh, I forgot to press play to record that. I probably won't use this footage anyway. And oh my gosh, I don't understand this language, if this is even a language. I'm going to fill up a little bit in here, just because I'm not gonna remove completely, okay? This is important to have. I just don't want it to be super deep, so I'm just going to reduce a little bit in here. It's not necessary, okay? I'm gonna leave one without, so you guys see the two options. I can't, eu não falo turco. Here too, because it's too deep, so my skin won't be able to reach all the way in there, so you can do that. I mean, this is all optional. It's just to be more safe that you won't have air bubbles in there. Here, and because this is very deep, see, and it's gonna be hard to go with my skin clay in there. So just putting that. I'm not giving any shape. I'm just reducing the depth of it a little, I mean, quite a bit. SOS, what's wrong? I don't speak this language. Sorry. Dó 1? Não sei. Tem que perguntar pro Edinho se ele me mandou essa, porque eu recebi só a chamada pele clara. Não sei se ele mudou na etiqueta. Ele que escolhe as cores que ele vai me mandar. Ele já sabe o que eu uso. Sorry, guys, I was just answering a question about PV clay in Portuguese. Oh, Turkish, I don't speak that language. Yes, I've done characters with open mouth. There's probably some that you can find on my Patreon, but it's private class. But it's $10 per month, and you can get access to all the classes that are in there. Body, face, there's a lot of different classes available. All right, so Now let's add the skin. I'm gonna try to get a little bit here, just so I have a better footage to record here. Okay, so now I'm gonna place the skin on top of the skull. I'm just gonna do a footage here, okay, and I'll do it again. Okay, I think that's a good footage. Let me just do it again. Okay, that's good enough. So I open up the clay on my pasta machine, and I didn't go with the thinner set. So, and I didn't go with the thinner set because this clay, it's very soft, and I don't want it to be like, let me show you guys how soft it is. Like, if I pull it, if it's too thin and I pull it, it will completely do this, and I don't want that to happen, okay? So I didn't do that thin. So I will add on top of my skull, and I don't want it to be too thick because I still want to be able to see the features of my skull, okay? So I'm gonna press down, and what I'm making sure that I will have it nicely done is avoid air between the skull and the clay. So kind of like stick the clay to your resin without letting air in between them. And that's the most important thing. That's why I added some clay in there. And we are going to press it in here. You want to have that cavity around the eyes here. It's important. It's part of the anatomy. Right there. And here it's a little bit deeper because I didn't add clay to this one so you guys can see, because you can add now or later. But the thing is, because it's too deep, I might get a little bubble in there, so I'm gonna have to press it in stronger. Okay? And I'm gonna press around the eyes, go down the nose here, make sure that is all nice attached to the skull. And then when you get like the clay to fold this way, it's okay, just pull it out of the way. And the clay is elastic, and just manage to don't have to fold, but press it down and squeeze together. It will work eventually, especially when you get here on the chin. You will have to press it in together like that and go inside this way. Okay, and now you have a Voldemort. Voldemort. Almost. So as you can see here, I might have to go with my tool to make sure that there's no air bubble in there. Yeah, now it's the scary part. Creepy. They all have to go through this phase. The skulls are from my own shop. I make them myself and I sell them. You can find them on my Etsy or on my Amazon. Juliana LePine Art Supply. That is the name of the shop. I mean, not on Etsy. On Etsy, it's just Juliana LePine Sculptures. And then you just, you know, pull the clay out, down here. You don't need to. You can do that later. You really don't have to worry about here because we're going to smash that out as we hold the clay. So what you can do here is you can leave this to hold, or you can clean up the spot to fit your stick. And to the back of the head, if you want to have a place to hold, you can add extra clay. You get scared to cut the eyelid. Just add some extra clay here, and you can put your hand here, deform that part as you hold it. So thumb and a support for my finger here, which usually I don't use that one. I just hold the head. And I always leave this side of the part, the face last to fix, because as I hold here, I do this and I smash that side. Always. That's probably gonna happen here. Okay, so now that we've done that, and I think I remove all the air from it, can kind of like make sure there's no air in here. Here is also a great spot to accumulate air, is around the eyes. So it's always good to go with your tool and press it a little bit just to make sure that, you know, it won't accumulate air in there. It also already shaped the eyes a little bit, so it's good. Okay, so as you guys can see, I can still see my eyeball. You see right there? Because my clay is not super thick, so I can still see my eyeball right there. I can't even answer you, but there's a way on YouTube that you put subtitles and you choose the language and YouTube does it automatically, so you can watch this video after in any language. But I can't say that in Turkish because I have no idea how to say that in Turkish, sorry. So let's cut the leads. I'm going to record that because I always like to record that. So because I can see the eyeball, I'm going to just cut and cut. And I can also, I'm not going to cut the lips now. I'm going to measure the lip first. Okay, that was good footage. And as I cut here, I'm going to start opening so I can see my iris. And that's all I want right now. I don't want to make any shape. I don't want to do any of that, but find my iris. Right there. And I can see there's air in here. You see? There. I mean, it's not air, but there's a space where there's no clay. But I can do that after. So I found my irises. I'm good. You can open as much as you want. You don't need to open too much. You don't need to open too little, because we're not going to shape the eyes right now. But I just really want to open up and see my iris. All right. Sorry, I wasn't reading because I'm recording I'm making a footage and I'm trying to sculpt. We're going to talk a lot about eyes still, okay? So this was just opening her eyes, waking her up. Any question? Let me try to read the last questions here. Oh, gracias. No, not these eyes are not from my shop. I will have eyes on the shop this size soon. I do have some smaller eyes on Amazon. And the eyes, that size eyes are coming soon to my store as well. But I have the class here teaching how to make eyes yourself. Okay, now that I add the eyes, I'm just going to press the clay down a little bit. And all I want to do here is make sure that the cut is touching my eyeball and not floating around it. You know, I want the clay to touch the eyeball. And I will shape it after, but I don't want it to be like that, you know. Like I don't want it to be outside, like floating. I want them to be connected. So I'm just pressing down and making sure that everything is connected together. And my eyes are not going to be floating inside the eyelid. You don't need to worry about clay on top of your iris. You can clean that later. It's not gonna get attaching there. And there's no Frida's eye shape here at all. It's just an eye open. Okay, so that's good enough. Now I'm gonna go back to measurements. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to measure the beginning of her eyes right here, the corner, the inside corner, in the inner corner of the eyes. Guys, I apologize my English. I just make up words when I'm not sure. I just try to speak Portuguese with an accent. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I moved to Canada when I was already more than 30 years old, and I am 44 now. I've been here for more than 10 years, but I still didn't learn full English. So I'm gonna measure the inner corner right there, and I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna try to put in the center according to the nose here and everything else, and I'm going to press it in. Ta-da! So this one was already pretty good. This one was too much out, which is fine. Just want to make sure that I know. Oops, I'm out of the camera. So I just try to centralize here, and I press my caliper right there. Okay? So now I know exactly where Frida's inner corners are. And now I'm going to do the same thing with the outside. I'm going to measure. Well, Frida's famous, and I'm making her. Yes, I do. I just I just do whatever I feel like it. I don't like to commit that I will always be doing famous people or that I will never do famous people again. I am just impulsive and I do whatever I feel like it. So now I know where the eyes finish, okay? And that's all I need to know. So now I have, and we're gonna have to measure this again because, you know, clay's soft, it's gonna move around, and we're gonna have to be always measuring and making sure that we didn't change the size of her eyes. And that's it. We have now the right size on her eye for now. Oh, so somebody just asked me in Portuguese how the pandemic is, how are things during the pandemic here. That's actually the reason that I'm releasing all the classes for free to help people out during the pandemic, because I know it's horrible. I'm tired. I'm locked in lockdown again. We're under lockdown again here. But it's a great time to grow your skills and study, right? So I'm taking classes myself, anatomy classes online with Florian Jacot, and I am teaching for free. So who can't afford can at least do something good out of this pandemic time, these lockdowns. And if you can afford, go to my Patreon or subscribe to the channel as a student or a special fan, and then you can support my work as well. Or become a full, like a student and have access to all the private classes as well. All right, so I have the eyes. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the lips. But before cutting the lips, I wanna make sure that I will cut the lips in the right spot. So I'm gonna measure from the inner corner of the eye to the corner of her mouth, right here. Okay, that's kind of, is it right? I can't see, the phone is right in front of me, but I think I have it right. Right there. I think I can record that. That's interesting. So I'm gonna measure up from here, and I'm gonna transfer this right to her face and make a mark. Okay, and same thing here. It's probably already there, right? We're not very symmetrical, but we can do symmetrical. So I know the distance from the eye, the lip to the eye. I know that distance, but now I also want to know the size of her lips. So I'm going to measure up right here on the cuts, on the corners, right there, and I'm going to try to put in the center. This is very important to put in the center, and I'm horrible in putting in the center. I always get it not right. There you go. It was already right. And now you can cut the lips. So I'm gonna do a fast cut for my video. I'm recording right now, and I'm just gonna cut from one side to the other, like that. Okay, cut, and that's it. Don't need to do anything else here. I'm just trying to make a better cut because I cut too fast for the video and it got twisted. Okay, as you guys can see, I've already done Juliana's statue. If you guys can see, I made a little bit of a curve going higher here. There's a small curve here, okay? Because this is how it is, okay? Don't go straight. I mean, you can go straight right now and then do the curve later. It's fine. All right, so now next step that I like to do is I'm going to get my tool and I'm gonna press it down. You can use this here and here, this way. This will help us to already have that depth in here, okay? Don't need to do the full thing right now, but just to help. And you can smooth this out a little bit. Okay, so we have the right lip size and the right lip and eye positions and size, and now we can place a little nose in here. It's not going to be perfect, but we can already go ahead and place the nose. Does anybody have a question before we go ahead? Is there any question? I'm trying to go a little bit slower than Sitting Bull here, to see if more people can catch up with me and finish up this Frida. No questions? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and place her nose. So for her nose, I want to have her nose available here. I'm not gonna be concerned about the shape right now, but I just, just wanna have an idea to don't go too off. Can get a little bit farther here. And here. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get some clay, and you don't want it to be too thick. You don't want it to be too thin. You want to kind of be like her nose. You can even get the profile, the frontal picture, and make sure that is not too large and is not too thin, kind of like her nose here. You can, you don't have to, really. Be careful with the printing too, okay? Because every printer releases ink. If you put your clay too much touching the ink, or your hand like here, you're gonna have it all dark and you're gonna transfer that ink to your clay. So if you have the need to touch your reference a lot, you can put a plastic, like tape it, so you won't have it making your clay dirty. All right, so now that I have kind of a drop shape here, I want one side to be thinner and the other side to be larger. I'm gonna try to find the center, and I'm gonna go right to the center and place it this way. Okay, and then I'm gonna turn to the front, and I'm going to blend it together, even though I'm not really making a shape yet. I'm just giving human shape in here, so it doesn't look like Voldemort anymore, and we can, work on the details to make it into Frida. So first you want to be able to see a human. Okay, and I'm just connecting here. As you guys can see, it's such a different texture from the clay that I used for Sitting Bull, if you follow Sitting Bull classes. If you don't, it's still available. You can also find on my playlist, and you can also make your Sitting Bull. It's gonna be there. Yeah, right now it's not gonna look like Frida. That's fine. It's gonna take a little bit of more. If you make mistakes, you can always fix it. It's not baked. You can always fix your mistakes. Even after baking, you can always remove and start do that part again. It's fine. Okay, so she has a very, very big nose here, but I don't care. I really am just blending the nose with the skin. Gente, eu tô falando inglês porque esse é o canal em inglês. Eu tenho um outro canal em português, tá? I have some students in Portuguese asking, why am I speaking English? Because I have two channels. I have a channel in English and I have a channel in Portuguese. This one is English. All right, so we have something. And if you feel like that this is not giving you the right, if it's not good, just get your transparency, go ahead and fix the shape a little bit, like, a little bit of the nose, and reduce it a little bit. You see here, it's not too bad, but because we don't have lips, we don't have chin, right? But it is big, so I'm going to reduce a little bit, trying to copy her shape without too much effort, just really removing a little bit here. You can always also always cut. Hello, cut. Get a scissor and cut. Okay, we're going to work on her nose shape much later. Right now, you just want to have an idea. And then here it's too thick. Obviously, you can see here. If you want already, you can measure everything. Measure how thick is her nose here. Measure right in the corner of the eyes. That's the best way to measure, and mark it down so you know it. And then you measure here, the nostrils, how far the nostrils are from each other, and mark it. Try to go in the center, Juliana. And where the nostrils are, and you know that here is kind of like you can scratch it down first, kind of copy the shape. We're gonna have to redo that again, so don't worry too much. It's just so we don't have it too off. This, and then she goes all the way down, like very straight here, opens a little bit here, but not much. You can open up later, you can open up now, doesn't matter because we don't really have the right profile, but it's just to be more like a nose look. Okay, also you can measure how far is the nostril from the corner of the eye, so you don't make the nose too long or too short. So measure up right there. It's a little bit in, a little bit more in here. By now we already lost the center of the eye there, so you can always redo it. Okay, so it was right, but make sure to measure. And I'm gonna clean up a little bit here because it's too thick. This is gonna give me a better nose shape. Okay, so because my clay is so soft, I'm just doing this and it's coming out. Okay. Whose name? What is whose name? My name? Oh, Frida Kahlo. All right. So now I have a better, more human look nose here. And something else that we have to be careful is that the nose starts right in the center of the eye here. This is where the nose starts here too. So right here, we have to have, you can't connect straight to your forehead. It goes first in and then out. So there's a little, it goes after the forehead. You have to go in a little bit and then you start the nose, okay? Of course, we have to copy her nose shape here, but that's human. It doesn't go straight for the forehead, all right? And then when you do that, you go ahead and fix again the thickness. And we kind of have a better nose shape already here for her. Far away to be hers, but it's all right. Okay, I'm gonna fix the size of the eye here again because I lost it when I put the nose. And we can now work on this just because it's almost the end. Hello. It's almost the end of the class for today. And just so we finish with a better end result, I'm gonna clean up this a little bit, remove the tool marks, try to make it more symmetrical, so we can finish the class with something a little bit better to show and to have, okay? So you guys don't have a lot to freak out for next class because there's nothing really hard to do it. I mean, all you need to focus in this class is, sorry, I missed the question. Let me just finish what I was saying and then I'll answer you. So all you have to worry right now for next class is make sure that you have the eyes placed in the right position, the right distance between them, the right distance from the teeth here, not too low, not too high. If you put in the center of the skull, you probably will be okay. Depth, make sure that the eyes is in an okay depth. And then you will measure inner corner of the eye and out corner of the eye and make sure that they are okay, similar to hers. Then you're gonna measure the distance from eye to lips. And you're gonna measure the size of the lip and you're gonna make a cut. That's like a summary, okay? And then you're going to put some clay for the nose. You can measure this, how large is in here, a little bit large in here. You don't need to freak out about the shape because there's a lot to do still. And also I measure from the corner to the nostril, but I think I missed that. I will have to remeasure it because I can see that is not in the right position already, but I will fix it. So don't worry. This is something that we have to care. If you have the time to put it in the right measurements, go ahead. If not, then we're going to do on next class. Next class is next Tuesday. It's always every Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, every week. If something happened and I can't make it, I will make a post on the community explaining, apologizing, and rescheduling. Okay, so we have that weird face shape that it's far away to be Frida, but can already be considered a human character. Any question before we finish, before I say goodbye? Yes, you can also watch the intro class that is on the playlist here. I'm gonna add this class to the playlist as well. If you watch the intro class, I also explain how you can follow these classes and the best way to interact with us during the class, because now you can take picture of your sculpture, picture of that, post on our Facebook group and get opinions, get help, or you can also comment on my pictures and ask for help. I will take a picture of that and I will post on Facebook in case if you want to look at it to follow, to do yours. I'm gonna post a frontal picture and a side picture on Facebook and Patreon. So yeah, watch the intro class, and there's also how to make realistic eyes, and it's all already on Frida Kahlo playlist here on the channel. Okay, and don't forget, guys, if you can afford to support my work on Patreon or on YouTube, or if you can afford to have this class as a student, it's optional, but you can sign up to my Patreon. There's also a lot of other private classes there that is available for only $10 a month. You can access all the classes that I've done previously. And you can also sign this channel as a special fan or as a student. There are different pledges, and that's a great way to support my video and invite your friends for the channel. Okay, so see you guys next Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you have any question, please feel free to ask on the group too. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Bye-bye.